Hello, it's Dawn Michelle from Boho Tarot, and today we'll be taking a look at the Primal and Powerful Tarot of the She by Emily Carding. The Tarot of the She is a fascinating gateway into the interconnectedness of self and world. This vividly painted deck asks us to dive deep into our subconscious self and explore our inner power and our instinctual connection to the living energies of the Otherworld. For those who may not be familiar with the concept of the She, there is a lovely explanation in the foreword of the Guidebook written by John Matthews, who has also worked with the She for over 30 years. He states that the She are perceived as glorious otherworldly figures of great power, whose connection to our world is deep and lasting. The deck's artist, Emily Carding, further explains the word She is an ancient Scottish and Irish Gaelic word for the race of fairy beings who dwell in the hollow hills and burial mounds by the same name. While the concept of connecting to these otherworldly beings provides the context for this deck and inspires its powerful images, one does not necessarily need to be a believer of the She to tap into that otherworldly energy. What some may perceive as fairy beings, others, like myself, may regard these ethereal beings as manifestations of the living world and archetypes of the human condition. That is to say, you do not need to believe in fairies to cultivate a profound connection and beautiful experience with this deck. You can approach these otherworldly beings in whatever way resonates with your core beliefs. What drew me to this deck was the pure raw energy of the artwork. In the Guidebook, Carding states that these images were indeed created in a very vivid and raw artistic style, penned in ink without planning or preparation. What may appear as messy or primitive upon first glance reveals itself to be a manifestation of the untamed and ever-present moving energy of our living world. Inspired by her connection to the She, the artist captures this wild and wise energy that radiates throughout the realms of our interconnected world. It was this energy radiating from the cards that demanded my attention and drew me to this deck. There is definitely a dreamlike quality to these cards that allows them to be used as a gateway for meditation, divination, and intuition. Perhaps more profoundly, at least for me, was how these cards created a bridge between the most primal and instinctual part of our base nature and connected it upwards into the divine cosmic energy that flows through us all. This outward spiraling energy feels very much like the emblem or the great glyph that we see on the back of the cards, as if we are the center point, awakening and spiraling outward to become one with the universal energies. This great glyph of the She can also be found on all of the major Arcana cards. It can be used as a focal point to create a gateway to the otherworld and open your connection to the She. Though this is a beautiful concept, I have not found the glyphs in the majors to be an important element to working with these cards. In truth, I don't even notice them anymore, and for me, it is the image itself that creates the gateway and fosters that connection. The major arcana follows the universal forces or archetypal energy of the traditional meanings, but approaches them with a more intuitive understanding. Many of the cards are recognizable, yet completely unique in their presentation. A read through the Guidebook reveals a message from the card itself, creating a dialogue between you and the She, or you and your inner voice or cosmic messenger, depending on your individual beliefs. You will also find keywords and an artist note for each of the majors, which reveals interesting insights into each of the cards. A few of the cards' titles and energies have been shifted in this deck, but let's take a look at the major arcana and we can address those as they appear. We begin with the Fool, who says, "I cannot give you my name, as I have none to give, or at least I have not the knowledge of it. I do not know what force will hold me up or what fate may await me below, but I must find my name, my place, my voice." The Magician, "As above, so below, I hold the balance between the worlds. I know my name and the power it holds." The High Priestess, "I am the guardian of the lake, and I am the waters, and I am what lies beneath. Let your intuition guide you toward its meaning." The Empress, "I am the glorious night sky, and I am the earth beneath your feet. Through my womb lies your winding path." The Emperor, "I am the firm hand that tames creation's chaos. Take my path, and you may inherit my kingdom." Here we find the Hierophant, renamed as the Elder. "Join me and see the pattern of life unfold. You may learn, yet you may teach. Take the spiral path of aged rings and find your sacred elder within." The Lovers, "We are apart, yet we are one. None shall be denied our path if you seek with a pure heart." The Chariot, "Behind me the dark sun's crown burns brightly. Before me lies the song of victory. Take my path if you would reach your goals." We find Justice in position 8. I am the cosmic dancer of truth and balance. Follow the spiral as it weaves from the point, and you may find the balance you seek. The Hermit. I am the messenger of your hidden self. Heed my silence, and you will surely become the guiding torch of others. The Wheel of Fortune. We are the sisters of fate. We are abundance and loss. The water waits, the fruit delicious. Take a bite, and you will be satisfied. Take with greed, and you shall know our vengeance. We find strength in position 11. True strength is not the bonds of harshness, but the consistency of gentle courage. The Hanged Man. I am the fool's sacrifice, that he may know his name. I give wholly to the void, to be holy in the world. Death. Step forward bravely, and you will see that death is but a land of life renewed. Temperance. Sun within moon, fire within ice, I am the healing waters of the tempered soul. In lieu of the devil, we find Pan. I am the spirit of the dance, I am the lord of the wild. Join with me and pass the gates of your desire. The Tower. I am the burning, lightning truth of your innermost divine soul. Strip away, blow away the empty mask of forgetfulness, and know your sacred truth. The Star. Within and through my eyes, you pass into your true inheritance. We are one, we are all, we are divine. The Moon. I am the silver path of reflection. I am the land that dwells beyond the mirror's face. The Sun. I am the great solar guardian of life. I am the simple joy of the dance. Judgment. I am the higher purpose of all things revealed, and I will show you what lies above and beneath. And finally, the World. I am the answer to all questions. I am the rainbow and the crock of gold. We end as we begin. The Minor Arcana offers us a very elemental association for each of the 4 suits. Though Carding did not intend to deviate from the established structure, she was inspired to create the suits of Dreamers for air, Warriors for fire, Dancers for water, and Makers for earth. She notes that although these suits are still based on established meanings, they speak directly to the subconscious without the need for an education in esoteric symbology. The courts in this deck follow princesses, princes, queens, and kings, and each offer a gift for the situation. The book offers a beautiful little poem and a few key words for each of the minors. In truth, it was lovely to read through once or twice, but I really didn't find it very helpful in terms of finding meaning within these images. The Minor Arcana includes not only the suit title and number at the top, but also a key phrase at the bottom of each card. In some cases, the key phrases follow a more traditional path, such as the Greedy Tree, and in others, they weave their own message, such as Winter's Bite in Maker 5. Whether those key phrases enhance or hinder your readings will probably depend on your overall understanding of the cards. The minors begin with the inspiration of the dreamers, who teach us that our thoughts create our reality. From this initial idea, we dive into the fiery energy of the creative nature of the warriors who represent the power of our soul's will. Then we wade into the watery womb of the dancers, where connection and expression gestate in the ocean of feeling. then finally we emerge into the solid and physical form of the makers, who represent our real results and tangible efforts. The deck comes with a little guidebook that, despite its small size, really is packed with quite a lot of information. I found the introductory material to be the most helpful in this guidebook in terms of learning about the deck's creation and the connection to the She realm and otherworldly energies. As I stated earlier, the section in the Major Arcana includes a message from the card itself, keywords, and artist notes, all of which make for a fascinating read, but much like the poems for the minors, isn't terribly helpful in terms of navigating the readings. However, I do want to point out that the artist herself notes that her intention with the book was to convey the energy of the cards rather than explaining the meanings, so I didn't have any expectations in using this book as a reference guide. Rather, I read this book as a way to connect to the deck and get to know the individuals inhabiting this beautiful world. This is a deck that reads quite beautifully intuitively and really allows you to tap into those deeper energies that are this really unique blend of primal earthiness and cosmic consciousness. That is probably why this deck speaks so profoundly to me, because it taps into those very opposite ends of my personal spectrum, the earthy practicalities of my Taurus nature and the cosmic wandering of my eternal soul. In truth, I was not sure about this deck when I first purchased it. I knew I already had this really powerful pull toward the deck just from seeing the images online, but once I had it in hand, I was really not expecting to have such a deep experience with it. My readings with this deck have been really amazing and have awoken this sort of primal energy that connects to this cosmic understanding. In truth, it's a really difficult experience to put into words, but as Kasha from Tarot Map said, it is just a deck that has the potential to really bust you open. I've used this deck for a variety of readings, from daily pulls to larger spreads. I found it to be a bit too raw and powerful for just an everyday card pull. I did, in fact, pull a card for the day with this deck all throughout January, but for me, it packed a little too much of a punch for just a basic energy of the day sort of pull. Where I had the most success and fantastic readings with this deck was with more personal readings, the ones that dive deeper into self as an exploration rather than as a commentary or advice on a situation. One of my most profound readings as of late was doing the septagram spread in the guidebook using this deck. I also found that I had a tendency to read with this deck more intuitively, letting the energy and the imagery on the deck guide my readings more than relying on the traditional meanings of the cards or key phrases at the bottom. Although I think it reads beautifully either way, I was more drawn to reading it intuitively, letting the artwork be my guide. The one thing that we haven't talked about yet is cardstock. This is a shiffer deck, and I am sad to say that it has that super glossy cardstock. And although it's a bit of a thicker cardstock, it really isn't as bad as some of my other shiffer decks. It is a large deck, a bit closer to oracle size, and combining that with the cardstock makes it a bit difficult to work with. While I can rifle and overhand shuffle it, it's not the easiest thing for me to do. The borders are quite large, with a black outer border and a thin purple inner border surrounding the artwork. The borders do, on the one hand, help to contain the powerful energy of the card and creates a frame that provides a little breathing space between the images. That being said, I do intend to trim this deck primarily to make it a bit easier and a bit smaller for me to work with. The deck comes in a 2-part box which holds both the book and the deck. It's not the prettiest box to have on display, but it serves its purpose and protects the deck quite well. In working with this deck very intensively for the last couple of months, what really resonated most with me was the artwork is vivid and powerful, with these raw images that really tap into something deep and primal within me. Yet, as I mentioned before, it also awakens this cosmic and otherworldly connection, which creates this beautiful as above, so below vibration. I really love the elemental associations and energy in the minors. I particularly love the representation of Arcana 5, which is traditionally known as the Hierophant, represented here as the Elder instead. This really resonates with how I see Arcana 5. Like many of my Schiffer decks, the challenges I have encountered with this deck are primarily due to its production value. The cardstock is heavily laminated, which catches a bad glare in direct light and also makes it difficult to photograph for sharing your readings or showcasing your beautiful deck. The cards are big, thick, stiff, and overall just a bit challenging to work with. Production issues aside, I am sure you can tell by now that this is a deck that I have completely fallen in love with. It's a deck that took me by surprise, opened me up, dug down deep inside, and pulled out something both ancient and new within me. It is a deck full of contradictions. It is both earthy and cosmic, primal and sophisticated, powerful and vulnerable, forceful and nurturing. It is a deck that will break you open and then heal you up. I think that in this way, despite it being a deck attuned to otherworldly energies, it is deeply human. Thank you for taking this journey with me through the Tarot of the She. I hope that you enjoyed exploring this deck and will join me again soon for more creative tarot for an inspired life.